This is Affinity Guard 12, and this one has been a long time coming. Well, over a year ago, someone asked me why I like Moondragon so much, or why I think she is a good character. And my love for Moondragon, it extends well beyond these, or the fact that she rapes men, which I find to be hyper-erotic. I said I was going to do this story, and then I never did. This focuses on Drax and a little bit on Moondragon. A lot less than I remembered, but it is a great story nevertheless. Our necessary backstory is that Drax is Moondragon's dad, but in his current state, he is stupid and dumb and cannot remember things. He is not aware of their connection. He doesn't realise she is his daughter. And he also doesn't remember what led to him being reborn in this form, which was Moondragon. She caused him to die of a brain hemorrhage. So our setup between these two characters at the moment is Drax is oblivious to everything. He is childlike. He's also building a pretty bloody good sandcastle. And then Moondragon, she feels pretty rotten. She is constantly being reminded of what she did to her dad, and she's having to see him in this mentally diminished state. She's also afraid that she's kind of living on borrowed time, and that eventually Drax will remember that she was the one who killed him. This is written from Moondragon's perspective. All the caption boxes and stuff are her internal monologue. I would say that there are tiny bits where Moondragon is written off. Like, even in her thoughts, I didn't think Moondragon would ever refer to Drax as Pop. It would always be father, I reckon. Never something like Pop. That's just not Moondragon. But then what happens is, Drax, he remembers his original death. Not the one that Moondragon caused, the one before that, which was his originy. How he became Drax in the first place. Him and his family, they were driving in a car to Vegas, and there was an explosion, and only Moondragon survived. Also, Drax, he is a jazz musician. That is important to this story. It was Phineas, though. He caused the explosion. I cannot remember why. Maybe he hates jazz. But Moondragon, she survived, and Drax, he was resurrected to be Phineas's nemesis. And now that Drax has remembered his first death, he is angry and confused, so he starts lashing out. Then he storms off, leaving Moondragon to worry about things. And we have got Warwick Davis here. Always good to see him in a comic book. Then we cut to Alan Watson, who is having a big sleep, and Gonorrhea is watching over him. Alan Watson is dead tired because they have just come out of that Affinity Wilds crossover. And Gonorrhea, she is reduced to being a worrying mistress, even though she is meant to be the deadliest woman in the galaxy. And this is just after Affinity Wilds, where she had this huge cosmic role. Galactus Man chose her to be the cosmic vessel for healing eternity. But now she is just a bedside nurse for Alan Watson. as well as a magnet for vague premonitions of future stories to come. Future stories that will never be resolved because Jim Starman stormed off from Marvel before resolving them. So Drax, he flies out to Vegas. He is confused and trying to piece together his new memories. He ends up causing a commotion and damaging stuff and smashing things. I hope there isn't another big green-skinned character who lives in Vegas. Not that you would be able to work it out that it is Hulk who's going to guest star, because in this scene, which ineffectively tries to hide Hulk's identity with towels, we also see Dickie Jones, and his hair is completely miscoloured. Maybe he felt emo again, might delete later. This is a really good story. This is a really good two-part story. If you like Drax, if you like Hulk even, this is a really good Hulk story. I strongly recommend this. It is fantastic. Drax, he starts to remember that he used to play the saxophone. So then he goes off in search of a saxophone. And this is when he crosses paths with Hulk. Hulk is annoyed at Drax because Hulk knows that he is probably going to get all the blame for any damage Drax causes because they are both big green strong men. Before I conclude, we have a letter here that might be in the lead in my quest to find a printed letter in a comic I have from someone who lives close to me. This one comes from Yorkshire, which could be closer than our previous one, which was Leeds. Although it could be further than Leeds, or it could be Leeds again. Leeds is part of Yorkshire. Yorkshire is like a region. It's the biggest region in the country, and Leeds is part of Yorkshire. Yorkshire, it could be very close to me though. Like, if we're talking North Yorkshire, like if this is from North Allerton, that's pretty bloody close. I can get to North Allerton in like 40 minutes in a car. Except I didn't have a car and I didn't have a licence. So it'd probably take about 90 minutes to get to North Allerton. I would have to get a bus to the train station, which would take 30 minutes. About 10 minutes waiting for a train. And then 50 to get to North Allerton. Yorkshire is too vague. I think I cannot count this. It would be cheating. Also, the guy, he writes a pretty good letter. He's asking about the wider Marvel Universe and other cosmic characters, like Kazor, and why they are not appearing in this book or being mentioned. Good letter. Affinity God, it was always kinda overlooked. I didn't think many people really cared unless they were already Jim Starman fans. At the time, or even like a decade ago, these characters were all like B and C-list characters at best. But now Drax and Gonorrhea, they are well known from the films. And even Alan Watson and Moondragon, their exposure and popularity, it has definitely developed a lot more since these came out. I think this is one of them books that a lot of people are going back to and re-evaluating and realising it was, well, personally, I think it was a mixed bag. But this story, for example, I think it is a high point of the Affinity God series, if not the highest point. We have a dive into Drax's character and his background, and some bits with Moondragon. I do recommend these two issues. Go and read them. 7 thumbs up.